Now, today I'm interviewing Maria La Macchia, living in Austin, Texas. Maria, can you briefly introduce yourself to Japanese students of English?
Of course. Hello, everybody. My name is Maria. I am 26 years old and I'm living in Austin, Texas. I speak Japanese and English, and I've been a teacher for about 6 months so far. よろしくお願いします。
Yeah, that's good. I believe that Japanese students would like to know how you have studied English and attained the level of fluency you have now. Can you tell us about the beginning of your English journey from the day you were born to university days?
Well, luckily for me, I grew up in the US, which means I was surrounded by English all of the time. When I was younger, I began in preschool, and of course, like everyone, even before preschool, I began learning sounds and hearing words from the time I was a tiny little baby. From then on, through my middle school days, I had a lot of vocabulary. I learned a lot of vocabulary through the books that we had in school. We had to do a lot of fill in the blank exercises and tests. And from then on, of course, throughout high school, a lot of the same things. One of the main ways that I learned English was through my older sister. My older sister would proofread all of my essays and fix everything. She taught me how to not use repetitive speech. She taught me how to use adjectives correctly in my sentences and how to make everything sound very nice and professional. Of course, then in my university, I was able to use all of the knowledge that I took from high school writing classes and apply them to writing my thesis papers and all of my other papers, reporto, in college. So it's been a long time.
After graduating from the university, how did your journey change?
So, like everyone else, once I finished my schooling, working on improving my English skills is something that hasn't always come easily. However, I like to journal. I've actually journaled throughout my entire life, and this has been a tool that has sustained me until now. And I've recently been back on the computer and typing and using my skills to teach my students, to write feedback for them, to create my lessons. And I still proofread my friends' papers if they need help. I have a lot of different opportunities, but using my skills with my students is my number one way that my journey continues.
Mm. Do you have any experience with Japan and Japanese people?
Oh, yes, I have a lot of experience. I lived in Nagoya, well, north of Nagoya in Inuyama for 5 months. I visited Japan many times since then. Um, I am very familiar with Chinese, Japanese, and Korean culture, so it's easy for me to tell where students and people are from and what type of interaction makes them comfortable. Um, and of course, I know all the different Japanese foods. I know about Japanese television, celebrities. I mm, I know quite a bit, and that's definitely a strong point of connection when I meet people.
Mm. Can you tell us about Japanese English educational system, the good and bad points, and how to improve them?
Mhm. So fortunately, I had the opportunity to experience learning English in a Japanese school when I was in high school. And needless to say, there's a lot of room for improvement in the Japanese schooling system when it comes to English. Um, Japan is very ahead of America, for example, in things like science and math. However, none of my friends in Japan would talk to me in English. They maybe knew a couple of words, but in reality, when they applied their English, nothing was really able to come across. So I think that what Japan and Japanese people really need in order to express themselves more is a relaxed environment, online or in person, encouragement, and just creating an environment where the students aren't afraid to make mistakes, because I think that is the number one reason why my friends wouldn't speak with me. And not only that, not only is the environment very important, I think that when it comes to the textbook I had in Japan to learn English was incredibly boring and repetitive, and it seemed like a one-way dictation instead of something more interactive. But of course, that's not the fault of the Japanese school. I also think that there's not enough creativity given to teachers to make the lessons more interactive, more fun. And of course, if there were more opportunities to speak with foreigners and have fun interactions, then Japanese students would be a lot more interested in learning the language. For example, studying English through songs and through movies, it makes the content a lot more engaging.
Lastly, what's the most important thing for Japanese people to do in order to be able to speak English as fluently as you?
The number one suggestion that I give to all of my students is to find something that you really, really love. For me, I loved watching Hanazawarui in Japanese dramas, for example. And in that way, I was able to improve and really culture my Japanese skills. Similarly, for me, being exposed to English through movies and through literature was the strongest point of me learning my English, because every time I had a word I did not understand, I had to go and look it up and expand my vocabulary and my understanding, and also my overall understanding of the culture. Find something you love, if it's music or a book or a TV series. And whenever you're in your daily life, I think that everyone should think in proper sentences. Challenge yourself to think in the sentences. I want to blah 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 blah, go here, I want to go there. Everything should be done academically, of course, to an extent. You still need to rest. And above that, getting your essays proofread, like for me and my sister, she was able to help me really understand, this sounds good, this doesn't sound good. Not only is it important to have good vocabulary, good grammar, but in my experience, sitting down and knowing what sounds professional and what sounds proper and what sounds good is also very, very important to fluency.
Thank you very much for your advice. I'm sure it would encourage the students to study more and to achieve their goals in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. ありがとうございます。
Bye bye.